Welcome. In front of me I have the TORRAS Ostand L1 MagSafe case for the iPhone 17 Pro, and I'll be going over unboxing along with a look at the case, how well it's made, how well it fits the device, and also its feature set, along with just my kind of opinion about the product itself. Now, starting off with my opinion right here, when it comes on to the company's packaging, I feel like it's pretty bad. So this, not really for users, this is more for the company. I want to point out, as a design right here, it looks nice, clean, modern, whatever. But if it's on a shelf, I will not bat an eye to even figure out what the hell that is. It doesn't look like a case. No, it says stand case. And you're kind of designed for each one of these different cases. For instance, this one here, same case or same box, and another same box. So you have two different cases or boxes that you use for your packaging, and I have no freaking clue what's inside. And if this is in the store and I'm looking at a shelf, I can't be bothered to check out what this is. I wouldn't really, I would just care about something that actually shows me on the box what I'm buying. As an example, here, maybe not as crowded as this one. You can still keep the, minimal look like you do. It looks nice, but just give me something like a, picture of your case like this one's. This would make it much nicer to see what I'm actually going to be buying or what's inside, and therefore I can become more interested in it. But anyway, let's just get into this. So, taking it out. Pretty nicely designed case. It would have been nice to actually see it on the box and make me more interested in this, because this is probably one of the more interesting cases you actually have as a company, meaning. So anyway, let's start off with the quality of it. It's, I would say, what could be considered as on a bit more premium side, with basically your camera button having a capacitive kind of button that transfers over your input to the camera button on the phone. We have covered each one of the buttons right here. So these are plastic buttons that have a physical kind of travel distance to it. Feel nice when the phone is inside, and same thing goes on the other side for your action and your volume buttons. Then at the back we have our kickstand, our MagSafe, and that's about it. So let's put our phone in it. And when it comes onto the clearance for the screen to the table, if you tend to put it like so, we have a nice clearance right here with raised corners, as well as having just general clearance right here. And this phone already has a tempered glass, so it already has just a tiny bit more thickness that pushes the glass forward, but it's still enough to give it full clearance and not touch the display at all. So it's covering your display pretty well if you put your phone face down. And then all the buttons are in the right place, nicely clicky. Same thing goes with this one. You can see it works. So there we go. Everything seems to be working just fine. Now if we take a look at the cutouts at the bottom, that's usually where companies have it kind of mispositioned, but here these look almost perfect. Actually, these look, I think, the best out of every case that I checked out. The perforations for your speakers are nearly centered. Like, this is one of the best ones that I have seen so far. Pretty good. Now, one thing that you might see right here is this cutout right here. It seems like kind of weird, out of place. This is designed for a lanyard, if I'm correct, as we do have just a tiny bit of clearance between this hole and the speakers right here, so you can kind of loop it through here. So it is in a place where you probably won't really notice it all that much. And so yeah, the cutouts are pretty well made. Now here's a test of how well this is designed. So I just dropped the cable. Let's try it again. There we go. So here I have a thick little, well, maybe not little, but a pretty thick cable. So the body right here is pretty chunky. If I bring up something like a normal cable, like this one, this is the typical thickness of a cable that you would expect. And you can see how much they differ. So I use this as a test if the case will ever interfere with any kind of USB cable that you're going to plug in, and plugs in no problem all the way in, doesn't interfere. It passes. So good. You shouldn't have any kind of clearance problems with your USB-C cable unless you have some like absolutely ridiculously chunky one. Or maybe, I haven't tested that out, but unfortunately I don't have one to actually test it out. So I could try it maybe this. Let's see what such a thing like this. Still plugs in. Now, yep, it still has clearance, so pretty good. Yep, so completely clears it, no problem there. So even that doesn't really interfere with the Type-C port. Now let's talk about the bumper right here. It has this kind of texture to it. I'm not sure if I can show it somehow. Let's see, let's camera, please catch it. There we go, you can kind of see it right now. So we do have a bit of a textured bumper right here. And I'm pointing that out because this adds nice feel when you're holding it. It feels a bit more premium. Another thing that makes it feel premium is if we flip it to the back, and here we have the plastic inlay that holds our MagSafe. The seam between the rubber surface and the plastic is, well, seamless. I cannot feel where one meets the other. My finger cannot catch on anything here, my fingernail, so it just smoothly glides over both of those surfaces without any interruption. Makes this feel much more premium in hand. And the kickstand right here also seems to be very robust looking. You can see how that looks like. Let's just bring a little bit more light. So it is pretty sturdy. It opens up at an angle, as you can see. And in terms of prepping your phone, works just fine, both in portrait or landscape. Clips in place, it does not come out easily, as you can see. So it is there pretty solidly in there. So that's one thing. This area also is a little bit raised. If I move it to the side, you can see it is a bit lifted. So the metal, I want to point out, because this is metal, this kickstand, it might get a little bit scratched up. There is no like additional rubber that protrudes higher to lift it up. So this could technically scratch up and have this unwanted kind of look of, you know, just metal having scuffs on it. So I do want to point that out there. So other than that, should be fine. While it is raised in general, you can see we do have a little bit of a lift as it kind of slopes down here. So this will protect the plastic back right here from being scratched from a table. And also we do have the same kind of raised area around the camera plateau to protect our camera lenses and the plateau itself. But this still won't protect your camera lenses nor the plateau if you tend to drop your phone into your, for instance, purse with things like keys or maybe change, or into your pocket with the same thing, keys or change. So this is most likely going to scratch either your lenses or your plateau or both. So be very wary of that. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about when it comes down to the plateau is that it's exposed. So it is exposed, and it has this raised lip all around through it, which means that if you want to protect this with, for instance, lens protection like these ones, this is designed for the 17 Air iPhone, so it obviously won't be usable for this one, but you can see the design. This covers the entirety of the plateau for the Air. So same one for the Pro would cover this entire surface right here, with having holes on the other side, basically right here. for the cameras to basically get to the glass, as the front of it is glass, and the most of the thickness of it is actually plastic that holds the glue. So it would have holes for all 3 cameras. It would have an actual hole like the one right here for the microphone, and then just little rings around for the LiDAR and the flash. Now, it's a pretty solid lens protector as it's covering the entire plateau. And as we probably already seen, this plateau can get scratched up by the looks of it. You can't use such a camera protector on this case because there is not enough clearance between the lenses themselves and the raised lip right here. This is primarily usable for phones that don't use any cases. So sad to say, but it is just that. So you won't be able to use this. Another lens protector that I have actually applied on the video were the same ones that, for instance, the Samsung has. Though this is the design of the phone itself, but you can buy this kind of looking ring, right, like this one, that would be used to protect your lenses. So you just apply each one of them on here. And again, this, I don't have it anymore to test it out, but I have a suspicion that it wouldn't be able to clear this area again on the corners right here. But there is a small chance that it possibly would fit perfectly on here. That would probably be a nice option to protect your phone, or lenses more precisely, from being scratched. And I do want to also point out, this phone has an exposed camera. If you have multiple cases and you're planning, and this kind of ring design fits right here, it will not fit on cases that have just straight kind of cutouts for just the cameras and, for instance, flash and whatever. This kind of ring isn't big enough to clear this hole right here, so you wouldn't be able to fully put on this case, even if you can put this one on. So the last option that you can use, that will basically be the most versatile and also the least expensive one, is just a disc. You can buy clear glass or plastic discs that you slap on the top of your camera lens, and that's it. It's barely invisible, or let's say barely visible to the eye, that you have anything on there. It doesn't change the quality of the photos that you take, and it clears literally any kind of case design, even ones like this one with the cutouts in here. So that's something that you could use if you want to also protect your lenses. So I think that's about everything that I wanted to say. It's a solid case, very premium. The only downside here that I find is this design right here, where we have the metal kickstand, that it doesn't have any kind of additional rubber around that I can tell that would be protecting this from getting scratched up. And if it does, it's so minimal that I'm pretty sure any kind of speck of like a grain of sand will still be thick enough to be touching the metal right here and possibly scratching it. So this might get scratched and look just a bit less appealing. Other than that, it feels like a solid case, have everything that you would want from it. Nice kickstand, MagSafe, coverage for your cameras, though I would personally like to have an actual full coverage of the plateau as well to protect that. You have covers for the buttons, the pressure sensitive one as well, and it's very nicely fitted. It's a solid case. I want to point out one more thing though. In terms of feel, how this feels in hand, I'm not going to be talking about the features like the kickstand, but in terms of feel, there is a better case, which I have right. Oh, it just fell. There we go. Which is very closely made like this one, but it doesn't have a kickstand, and it's this one. So this one is the Guardian MagSafe, or Guardian Mag case for the iPhone 17 Pro. And it's nearly identical, as you can see. The only difference is it doesn't come with a kickstand, but because it doesn't come with a kickstand, it has a bit more or less weight, and it feels nicer in hand at the bottom portion, as this has some like unevenness. So if you don't want the kickstand, if you're just kind of debating and you want something that feels really nice in hand, then this one is superb. And in any case, no pun intended, you can find basically all the cases that I have reviewed in the descriptions of the videos that they are for, as a affiliate link. If you don't mind like supporting it by going through that, that'll be fantastic. And in general, like I said, this is still a great case that comes with a kickstand. I really like cases that have a built-in kickstand. I do have to say I do like them more when the kickstand is actually built into the camera, like around. So bringing back this one. So this isn't a unique ESR design. It's just one that I have literally easily accessible at hand. So it's not like I'm recommending this one. I think this one had a pretty crappy design, to be honest, when it comes down to this. But you can see we have this little ring around the camera plateau that I can flip up like a kickstand, like this one similarly, and it acts the same way. This is one that I personally like, as it just gives a nicer aesthetic generally to the phone, and also is not as visible like this one, so it just looks more appealing, more minimal. So that's something that I personally would like to see more over this design. And this would obviously also remove the problem that I'm having here, where when you're holding the phone right here, you have some unevenness, something like super substantial, and the weight is much bigger because you do have a bit of a chunkier piece of metal at the bottom right here. So this has a bit more material, I would say, to it, making it just a bit more heavier and chunkier case. So anyway, that's about everything that I have to say for this case. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.